Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Soy Erika y bienvenidos a mi canal. So for today's video, we've got something very important and I'm going to be calling a couple of you guys out. So if you're still saying adiós in Spanish, we need to talk. Although adiós is technically correct, no native Spanish speaker says that unless they're in a telenovela. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you 15 more native phrases so that you don't sound like a textbook or Google Translate or a robot when speaking Spanish. So these 15 phrases will allow you to sound more natural, more fluent, and honestly a lot cooler when you're speaking Spanish. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I dare you not to switch up your Spanish after watching this. All right, so we're going to get started with the first phrase that you would probably learn in your Spanish textbook. So it is me llamo, like me llamo Erika, my name is. So instead of saying me llamo, to sound more fluent and more natural and maybe more comfortable with the language, you can simply just say soy, which is I'm. I'm Erika, soy Erika, all right? We do the same thing in English. We don't say my name is whatever. We usually say hi, I'm blank, okay? Bueno, the second thing I'm going to teach you is instead of asking ¿Cómo estás?, you can actually say ¿Qué onda? Or ¿Qué tal? Okay? So ¿Cómo estás? Although it's technically correct, I've heard it before. Saying something like ¿Qué onda? Or ¿Qué tal? Will make you sound a lot more fluent and natural and comfortable with the language. All right, número 3, your response to ¿Cómo estás? Normally we'll say estoy bien, gracias, y tú. Instead, you can simply just say bien y tú, or you could say todo bien, todo tranqui, whatever you want. One of those phrases is going to make you sound a lot more fluent and comfortable with the language. Cuatro, now we're getting to the bit more specific things. So something that I always teach my students in Spanish is tengo que. So tengo que estudiar, tengo que lavar los platos, whatever, I have to. So how to sound more fluent is you can actually say me toca, me toca. Me toca estudiar, me toca lavar los platos, etc. Okay? Me toca. All right, this one is really important because I always find I say this all the time and it is very textbook. So if you want to say you're excited, how you would learn to say it or how Google Translate would tell you to say it is estoy emocionado, or if you're a girl, emocionada. But actually you could say qué ilusión. Qué ilusión. So how cool or how exciting. That's how it would translate. So instead of saying I'm excited, you could just say ay, qué ilusión. How cool. And we have lo siento, which is I'm sorry. So of course, again, you can say this, but to make you sound more like a native speaker, you can say perdón, disculpa, or perdona. One of those two, okay? I usually hear one of the other three in casual passing. Lo siento, if someone said that to me, I would feel like it would be a very serious, I'm sorry. But if you bump into someone, you can just say, ay, perdón, perdona. One of those things. All right, pienso que esto es número 6. So, tenemos, estoy bromeando. I'm joking, okay? So, of course, you can say that, but instead, I would challenge you to say es broma, which is, it's a joke, or te estoy vacilando. Te estoy vacilando. And te estoy vacilando would mean more like I'm messing with you. Okay, so instead of saying me gusta or me gusta mucho, which of course you have to know in Spanish, if you want to sound a bit more casual, more informal, and more fluent, you could actually say me flipa. So me flipa este, okay? Like this is so cool to me. If you want to sound maybe a bit more professional, you could also say me encanta, which is even more like I really love this certain thing. So me encanta, me encantan, or you can say me flipa, one of those two, okay? Imaginamos que haya tenido un día muy difícil. En vez de decir estoy cansado, which is I'm tired, you can say ando muerto. Ando muerto, which is I'm dying, like I'm dead. Okay, I'm dead. I'm so tired. Vale. All right. Going with the same vibe, if you want to say tengo hambre, which is I'm hungry, you can say muero de hambre. Muero de hambre. I'm dying of hunger. Obviously, these phrases are more informal, but when you're talking with someone your age or you're having a casual conversation, this will make you sound a lot more fluent. Okay, el otro we have is tengo frío. It's cold. Tengo frío, or I'm cold. You can say, ay, qué frío hace. Qué frío hace. How cold it is. So that's just more of a fluent saying you're expressing how cold is it outside and that you are still cold, instead of that very Google Translate saying tengo frío. Vale. Okay. Another one that you're probably going to use all the time is estoy listo. So I'm ready. So instead of saying estoy listo, you can say ya estoy. So if someone asks, Erika, ¿dónde estás? You can say ya estoy, which is I'm already here. I'm already ready to go. Okay? Bueno, we only have 3 more left. Tenemos ¿cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? So instead of saying cuesta, you can say ¿cuánto vale? How much is it worth? But that does sound a lot more fluent and more native. Okay? Vale. This one I love in Spanish, and we have the same thing in Italian as well. If you want to add emphasis to an adjective, you can add ísimo. So for example, if something is really expensive, instead of saying es muy caro, you can say es carísimo. Okay? If something is muy linda, really cute. So instead of saying es muy lindo, es lindísimo. Eres guapísimo. Okay? You add that ísimo, and then it makes it extra of whatever adjective you're using, okay? Y bueno, the last one, adiós. Instead of saying adiós, there are so many different phrases you can say. I'm just going to give you 3 today. But for example, you can say chau if you want to be really informal. Chau. You could say cuídate, which is take care of yourself, cuídate. Or one that you'll hear all the time if you go to Spain is hasta luego. Hasta luego, which is until later. Y bueno, todos, espero que hayan gustado el video y nos vemos en el próximo. Hasta luego. Chao.